I wanted to discuss the reasons behind convert seeking. You see this most often among Muslims and Christian groups. You don't see it among the more liberal groups within either. And of course, liberal Islam is perhaps a difficult term to define. And certainly among evangelicals this isn't the case. But within most groups within Christianity and Islam, more so than any other religions on earth, there's a tendency for the individuals, the adherents of that religion, to seek to convert others which don't share their particular beliefs into their way of thinking. You even see this among different groups within these religions as well. You will see, for instance, a Baptist Christian trying to take a Unitarian liberal Christian and say, no, you're on the wrong path, what you're doing is leading you to hellfire. They even disagree amongst themselves. On the surface, what they will tell you is the reason for seeking to convert others to their faith is one of several things. Number one, God doesn't will any to go to hell, and we're trying to spread the message of Jesus, or, Islam is the one high God, Allah. We're trying to keep people out of hell because we're good, nice, fuzzy, warm, huggable people. They'll say, well, I'm doing my duty to my God. We're told to go out and teach these individuals the truth. They'll give a number of reasons for why they're seeking to convert you. The real reason is this: they are unsound in their own faith. They don't have the level of faith that they want to have. And this is something that plagued me as a Christian as well. And I actually went out and attempted to convert people to Christianity too, which is something which most people won't believe. I've actually told other Christians when I get into debates with them, you're talking to someone who is a Christian for 19 years. You're talking with a person who's familiar with the Bible, familiar with the teachings of various forms of Christianity, and who knows what you're going to say to him. They don't believe me. They don't want to believe that a true Christian, someone who honestly did worship Jesus, who honestly did read the Bible religiously, who tithed and did everything else that a Christian is supposed to do and believe in the Holy Spirit, yada, 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 they don't want to believe that a person at that level can be deconverted from their faith. Because when you mention this to them, it makes them afraid. Because they realize that their family member, their friend, their daughter or son, their brother or sister or father or mother could leave their faith. That leaves them scared. Because they honestly believe that the people outside of their faith are going to burn forever. But, despite this great fear from their faith, that people will leave their movement, or their movement will stop existing, and thus you have these end times Christians coming out and saying in the end many people will leave the true faith, as though that wasn't a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the flip side, they are also at the same time not secure in their faith. And you see this manifest itself in their seeking of converts. Why? Here's the reason. These individuals want to believe that there's an afterlife. They want to believe that they're special, that they're cosmically important, they're divinely loved. There's a purpose to their existence. They've never learned about other religions for the most part. Most of these people, except in passing, have never even heard a Hindu. They've never heard a Buddhist talk about their faiths. They've probably never encountered a Wiccan, a pagan, or a Satanist. They have been indoctrinated by their church into believing atheists are terrible people who just want to crush Christianity and suck the life out of their souls. So when they talk to these other groups, they don't realize there are actually thousands of other groups, including many versions within Christianity with disparate views, that all have their own separate explanations for the afterlife, immortal life in general, God, or gods, or goddesses, or cosmic forces, the nature of good and evil, proper prayer, rituals, churches, whatever you want to talk about. There are multiple paths that people follow in this world. But most people, despite the rise of the internet, and this is not the case for certain groups of people, the young do much better than people that are middle-aged or old and less familiar with such things. Despite the rise of the internet, and despite ready access to every religion on earth of any note online, and information about it from both the adherents and second-hand sources, most people, and this was the case again when I was a Christian as well, remain ignorant of other faiths. Therefore, it terrifies them that anyone should leave their faith, because they think they have the only way to heaven. But at the same time, they will go out and seek converts. Why? Because they're lonely. They're not secure in their faith. They seek to legitimize themselves by surrounding themselves with other people and trying to appease their God by doing good deeds like converting others to their religion. It's very difficult, and here's the other thing. For instance, I've often told people in various activist movements that I'm involved in, they'll circulate a petition or do some other lame thing. They'll say, share this on your Facebook wall and we'll help defeat the Zionists, or we'll defeat the NWO, or we'll defeat Bush, or we'll defeat Obama or something. And I tell them, why are you doing this? They're rendering true activism useless, getting feet on the ground. They're saying, well, somehow we'll magically defeat this problem by spreading something easy around with the click of a button. The Christians and Muslims do the same thing. It's very easy to go online and attempt to wheedle away at a person and convert them. It's very difficult to live as Jesus actually taught them to live, which is to sell everything you own and live the life of a pauper hermit. Very few Christians have that level of faith. The fact that they don't have that level of faith annoys them. They seek a holy life, but the holy life that is laid out in the Bible is from the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. It is not a modern system. It is outdated, which also, if you ever want to get a Christian angry, just say that their belief system is completely outdated, which is true. It's an outdated system that is 2,000 years older than the modern mindset that these individuals who are adherents of this religion are using. They are not compatible. It's like trying to take Windows 95 and install it on a modern computer with a much larger hard drive and a lot more RAM and expecting it to magically be a great system. Well, yeah, it'll probably run, but you're not going to have the functionality of the systems you're probably used to. It doesn't work. And it scares these people because they feel that anytime they have a slight misstep, they slip up, they have premarital sex, they swear in church, they fall asleep during a service, they get lustful thoughts about the preacher's daughter, they smoke a doobie, they do any of a million different things that they've been taught either by their book or by their pastor or by their friends or family as being against this God, and it terrifies them, and they do penance. They go out and they'll say, well, I'm an unholy sinner, but maybe Jesus will forgive me if I just give more money at the altar. If I just convert a few more people to Catholicism, magically I'll be a great person. It doesn't work that way. It's pie in the sky. It's very easy to go online and be a keyboard warrior and debate for your God. Very difficult to live a truly spiritual life according to the teachings of, let's face it, a carpenter from the Iron Age. It's just not going to happen. When you see a homeless person on the street who won't take your change because they're too proud to accept it, you're seeing more holiness than you see in a megachurch. And here you see, look at the kind of people who get into religion. And I'm not talking about Joe Schmo the monk who goes into the sanctuary there and copies notes all day. I can respect Joe Schmo the monk in many cases. I can even respect Helga the nun. What I can't respect are these hardcore evangelical megachurch pastors who make millions of dollars at speaking arrangements and drive their limousines around. I can't trust or love or have any respect for these imams and other rich Islamic teachers and scholars and groups of people that get lots of oil money and then issue fatwas for people to be beheaded. I can't respect these people. They don't respect themselves. They go out and they seek converts, and here's the most interesting thing of all. In the olden days, and this is something, again, people living in the modern age probably don't understand. In the olden days, converting individuals was left up to the members of the clergy. You wouldn't see the Catholic lay people going out and trying to convert the Protestants. The clergy would do that. And if necessary, the church would co-opt a military movement to do it by force. And the same on the other side. The lay people did not preach to one another. The lay people went to church, they tithed, and they went home. And they had their little Mother Mary altar, or their King George poster, or whatever else they had. They went home, and they worshipped in the privacy of their own home, and then they went to church. They didn't go around beating each other up for their religion. That is a modern thing. The idea of lay people, number one, even having the right or power to convert individuals is very new. The church of the medieval times would have excommunicated you for taking it upon yourself to do the job of a clergy person. But these days, once the churches realized it was much faster to allow the lay people to just do it, they simply infected the lay people with the same idea that it was somehow necessary to convert the masses. And then they would take them to church and they'd teach them how, and they'd have little activist groups and they'd send them out and say, oh, well, go convert for Jesus. Go convert for Muhammad. Go convert for any of a number of other religious figures. And it's nonsense. These people are insecure. These people are neurotic in their own faith. They don't honestly believe the things that they're saying, so they seek to bring about a crowd of other people. Misery loves company in this somewhat slanted way. They're trying to take their own neuroses, their own fear of sex, of death, of demons or witches, or any of the burning time sort of nonsense fears that they have. They're seeking to take their guilt, their wrath, their ignorance, and all of these other things that they hold on inside their own psychology, and they're seeking to export it to other people so that everyone is on the same level. It would make the world a lot more fun for fundamentalists if everyone was a fundamentalist. They'd be very happy because there'd no longer be any question that they're right. They don't like being told that they're not right, not because those terrible hell-bound sinners are terrible people worshiping the devil. That's the stupid reason that they'll give you. That's not the real reason. The real reason is when an atheist or a pagan or any of a number of other people is intelligent enough to out-debate one of these evangelicals, it makes them afraid that they're wrong. When you debate a Christian and they start going off about how, I'm so sorry you're going to hell, I'm so sorry you're going to roast forever, it's going to be terrible anguish for you forever. When they get to that point, you've won the debate. You've made them neurotic, paranoid, and insane. You've made them question their own beliefs. You've made them question the very version of reality which they've been force-fed from a young age. If you do that long enough, even the most hardcore evangelical will snap and they'll deconvert. They'll become a questioning agnostic. And then once they become that, they usually become a hardcore atheist, like I did. Why did I do that? I chose that on my own. Nobody attempted to out-debate me as far as atheism went. In my case, it was my own study that brought me around to that realization that yes, religion is a tool of power, it's evil, it's insane, and I deconverted and became an atheist and then later atheistic Satanist. But for a lot of these individuals, yes, it may seem like a hard nut to crack, one of these evangelicals. The people who take their religion most seriously and who are the most adamant about the existence of their God, the validity of their dogmatic scriptures, the valid spiritual divine standing of their church, anyone who is absolutely sure about these things is the least sure about their own spirituality. They're putting on a front for other people. They're saying, I'm so sure my God's real. I'm so sure I'm going to heaven. I'm so sure you're going to burn in hell for all eternity. Haha, fuck you. They're doing that because it makes them feel better. They're trying to change their psychology so that they can stop the torment of always being plagued with what-if questions. Well, what if there is no God? What if I die and there's just nothing? I'll never see anyone I like again. It'll just be a never-ending black void for all eternity. It terrifies these people. Now, for those of us who have left, of course, we don't care. I don't care if it's never-ending blackness for eternity. I can't do anything to change that. Maybe I become a god. Maybe I go to hell, heaven, come back as a worm or another human or some alien life form. it doesn't matter because I realize that I probably can't change those paths no matter how hard I try. But these people are terrified. So you've got them on the ropes when you get them to spew hellfire and brimstone. And the preachers that spew hellfire and brimstone, they're the most neurotic